Hello and welcome to Treasury Notes, a show dedicated to the latest news and information from the office of West Virginia State Treasurer John Perdue. I'm your host, Gina Joynes. State Treasurer John Perdue believes proper education is the key to building a financially secure future. The Treasurer offers free financial education programs for all ages, from elementary school into adulthood. But Treasurer Perdue's education initiatives go beyond teaching West Virginians how to better manage their personal finances. He's also committed to continuing education for business professionals who handle the state's finances. Coming up a little later in the show, we will take a closer look at how the State Treasurer's Office is working to keep these business professionals at the top of their game. But first, Treasurer Perdue is helping those who are still preparing for that journey into the professional world. The Treasurer recently reached out to high school seniors about making a plan now to prevent financial struggles in the future. Kim Ward has more.
As part of his high school money conference series, Treasurer Perdue invited best-selling author and financial educator Chad Foster to visit several West Virginia high schools this spring to talk about money management. Foster is one of America's most sought-after speakers on the subject of financial literacy for teens. He is the author of Teenagers Preparing for the Real World and Financial Literacy for Teens. Recently, he shared one of his books and his message with senior students at Morgantown High School in Monongalia County.
Success is about four things. Number one, when all of you finally get down to the end of this journey, when you get there, if you have good friends, if you have a good reputation, if you like what you do for a living, you enjoy your career, and last but not least, if you give back and you help others in your community, then you are successful.
One of Chad Foster's keys to success is finding a career you love, a process he believes should start long before college graduation.
If you haven't worked part-time, you need to start doing it as soon as you can. Not only will you get to experience some jobs and some careers, but you'll also make some money and learn how to deal with that money before you get out to the real world and have to deal with that bigger money.
As Treasurer Perdue points out, these students will soon be managing money in a way they've never had to before.
You're getting ready to see what your parents are paying for you. They put a roof over your head. They pay a house payment. They pay for medical bills. They pay everything.
Financial education is just one part of the process.
And I think the process that they're in now with education is critically important, but in addition to educating, we must prepare.
We cheat our students and we don't give them enough information. We're not preparing them as well as we could.
One of the lessons to prepare these students, it's not enough to make money, you also have to know how to save money.
Smoking is a bad habit, saving is a good habit, but there's something they have in common. Habits are hard to break.
But Chad stresses that saving will only take you so far. To truly get ahead, you have to invest.
That if you don't start early, now at your age, and learn how to and start investing, you'll never really get ahead. You don't need a lot of money to invest. You need a lot of time for investing to work, and that's why it needs to start now.
Chad's lesson also includes tips on what not to do with your money.
Now, there's something wrong with using a credit card to buy something you don't need with money you don't have, and then when the bill comes in, making the horrible decision to only make the minimum payment.
When explaining complex subjects like credit card interest to high school students, Chad puts it into terms they can understand.
Get pizza and eat the whole pizza except for one slice. Stick that slice in a pizza box. Take the box and put it on the top shelf of your closet, and don't eat the last slice of pizza until you make the last payment on your credit card 20 years later.
Morgantown High School civics teacher Richard Vitalich touches on financial matters in the classroom. But he knows how important it is to have someone like Chad Foster to encourage students to start thinking about their future.
They're still living for today, and they're not looking to see 2, 3, 5, 10 years down the road.
When we talk about money, talk about their future, they typically do pay attention, and it is a concern that they have.
Each of the students received a copy of Chad's book, Financial Literacy for Teens. You may be familiar with some of Chad's other work. He's the guy who developed the soft rubber surface on McDonald's playlands around the world. He also hosted his own television show, Fly Fishing America, seen on ESPN for 8 years. The State Treasurer's Office also offers regular training for another important matter, saving for retirement. The Treasurer's Office administers the state's official supplemental retirement plan, West Virginia Retirement Plus. The 457 Deferred Compensation Plan is open to all state, county, and city employees. To date, more than 140 counties, cities, and other political subdivisions have joined the plan. Since the plan is offered through your employer, Treasurer Perdue wants to make sure they know as much as possible about the plan so they can pass that information along to you. A free training seminar was recently held for the benefit payroll coordinators to provide them with the tools and information they need to take back to the office.
You're the people that make the connections with those employees.
State Treasurer John Perdue knows the best way to inform people about the West Virginia Retirement Plus Deferred Compensation Plan and its benefits is to put information in the right hands. When the town of Fayetteville recently joined the plan, the Treasurer's office held a class to explain benefits to employees. But like any business, it's hard to get everyone together at one time. That's why Sonia Wood, a clerk with the town of Fayetteville, attended this training seminar.
We've had people to sign up, but there were some that weren't able to be there at the class, and with what we learned today, we'll take it back to those that weren't there, plus any new enrollees.
Prior to July 2006, the 457 plan was only open to employees of state agencies.
One of the things that Treasurer Perdue wanted to do was open it up to cities, counties, and other political subdivisions in the state.
Since the state treasurer's office began overseeing the plan, it has doubled in size, now boasting more than 12,000 participants and assets of more than $115 million.
I think people are more and more scared each year of what's going to happen when they retire. They know that Social Security may not be there, it may not be an option, and they want to make sure that their livelihood is going to be there for them, that they can enjoy retirement.
This is kind of the icing on the cake. The icing on the cake when you get ready to retire.
West Virginia Retirement Plus is a supplemental insurance plan designed to bridge the gap left by insufficient retirement funds.
Basically, we're living longer and we have to have more money to help us fund our basic needs.
Another benefit of the 457 plan is it's portable. If you were to leave the job where you open your plan, you can take those assets and transfer them into another retirement plan like a 401k or IRA. Keeping up with these benefits and any changes to the plan make these training seminars essential.
Things to help define a little bit better to the employees when we go back to talk to them about it.
You always get new information at these meetings, things that you may not have picked up before. You get updated on legislative changes that have occurred with the plan.
As more and more people participate in the 457 plan, it becomes more important to make sure the benefit and payroll coordinators are informed enough to pass that information along to you on a local level. Right now in West Virginia, 47 out of 55 counties participate in the 457 plan, plus 50 cities and towns and other political subdivisions such as water boards and boards of health. Learn more about West Virginia Retirement Plus at wv457.com. Reporting for Treasury Notes, I'm Kim Ward.
As the banker of state government, the Treasurer's Office conducts business with the agencies around the state. In an effort to make sure those who handle state money are following the same procedures, the Treasurer's Office established guidelines for the state's cash handling process. Now that those guidelines are in place, Treasurer Perdue invited financial professionals from around the state to attend a training conference in Morgantown to help them implement these practices successfully. Kim Ward joins us once again.
Teamwork in state government is what makes things go forward.
With their new cash receipts handbooks in hand, employees from dozens of state agencies came to Morgantown for March Money Madness. This training seminar was designed not only to explain the cash handling guidelines, but to share ideas and experiences on the best ways to implement these procedures based on each agency's situation.
Small agencies have unique situations that may require some team strategizing to fulfill all statutory cash management requirements.
For attendees like Catherine Hess with the West Virginia Veterans Nursing Facility, the conference was a chance to see if her office is following procedures.
I think that has brought up some things that we need to go back and make sure that we have our policies in place and that we're doing everything within the state code.
Conference attendees had the opportunity to choose their sessions based on their agency's needs.
We also have some agencies who collect a large dollar amount of money daily, and it's too much money for them to take to the bank. So we have Farmer Car Services that go and pick that money up.
We will give you the instructions, we'll give you the software, and someone at your agency can set that up.
So that's why the Treasurer's Office has the lockbox service. It affords you to only have that one employee and still have proper segregation of duties.
Now we're almost to $300 million in doing e-government in the state of West Virginia.
Mary Blashford with the School Building Authority came to Morgantown seeking specific information.
How to handle the cash flow and the money, and I hope to get updated on the legislative update.
This step-by-step training of the guidelines and procedures for cash receipts covered everything from setting up a cash fund to preparing for an audit.
We always ask, so you only have one person who opens the mail. Then tell me what your mitigating controls are to verify what mail was open is properly controlled after it's open.
Along with policies and procedures, session coaches shared tips for safer practices.
And then this tape is tamper-proof, meaning that if anybody tries to open this, it will show.
During roundtable discussions, people were encouraged to share what may or may not have worked for their agency.
You get an exact image of your check. If you want to log in, you can see the front and back of your check.
Along with cash handling procedures, conference attendees learned about services offered by the State Treasurer's Office.
And this is a hotline that the Treasurer's Office started because of the fragmentation of the whole payment process. I mean, the agency has the invoice, we send it to the auditor's office, it gets to us, then it goes to the post office where it can get mailed out. And sometimes the people who are getting the checks don't know where it's at in the process.
March Money Madness was more than just a cash handling conference for state officials. It was a lesson in teamwork, not just for the benefit of each agency, but for the entire state.
To make sure that you understand how important you are to us.
Reporting for Treasury Notes, I'm Kim Ward.
You just saw a brief overview of the March Money Madness Conference, but let's talk a little bit more about this training and the process of cash management. Joining me now is Misty Price, Deputy Treasurer of Cash Management here at the Treasurer's Office. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Gina.
Well, Misty, let's talk a little bit about the cash management function of the Treasurer's Office. This is, of course, really the core of what we do. Obviously, it's a very complicated process, but if you could just explain the major role of this division at the Treasurer's Office.
Well, as Treasurer Perdue likes to call us the State Bank of West Virginia, the Cash Management Division is specifically charged with the responsibility of receiving and dispersing the funds of the state budget. We do that through wire transfers, electronic transfers, and checks and cash. Essentially, we provide the banking and accounting functions for the state's finances.
We just saw some video of the conference, and it focused on the cash receipt handbook. Let's talk about how this handbook came about, because this has really been a project that you have been on since you've been with the Treasurer's Office.
Right. It was one of the very first projects I started. It came about by, there was a legislative cash receipt survey that went out to all the agencies, and we quickly found out that there was an area where there was a need to provide guidance to the agencies on how they needed to protect their cash and checks. And how they were receiving that money in. So it became a goal of this office to provide those procedures to the agencies.
So what are the goals of the handbook? You put this handbook out. It's not a very thick handbook. It's really just a few pages and some procedures that people can follow.
No, and you can find it online. We have it on our website. The goal was really to put in place in writing and establish and document the guidelines necessary to have an effective cash receipt process.
And you said you can find it online. We're looking at our website right now. wvtreasury.com is where you can go to find that cash receipts handbook. Let's talk about who this handbook is for. This is mainly for state agencies?
Yes, state spending units, and it's specifically for any of the areas that bring in cash. And by cash, we mean cash, checks, coins, anything that's a cash equivalent. Any of the agencies that have a collection point where they do that, it would apply to them.
Treasurer Perdue was a huge proponent of putting this handbook out there. Again, just stepping out in front of any problems that there may be, so that there are some procedures set for these state agencies. But it didn't stop there. That's why we had the Cash Management Conference. Let's talk a little bit about the conference and how that played a role.
Well, we knew that putting the handbook together, we realized that some of the agencies were going to have a lot of questions on some of the qualifications and stipulations that were in the handbook. Once we actually put the handbook out, we received a few phone calls on what those agencies should do. So we thought, what a better chance than to get some of the agencies all together so they could actually talk about some of their problems and come together and try to solve the problems that they have.
I know you spent a couple months trying to put together the agenda for this conference. Talk about some of the topics that were covered at this conference. I know it was a wide range, everything pretty much revolving around the handbook, but people had the chance to really learn a lot of different details.
Yes, we had a session specifically on the handbook where we went over the guidelines that were in it and gave the agencies a chance to ask any questions about it. One of the most important sessions that we had was a roundtable discussion that we saw in the video earlier, where, and this is where I was talking about earlier, that the agencies had a chance to come in, and we tried to group them in smaller groups so they were similar in makeup. So if a small agency had a question, they could maybe go to another small agency and ask a question. And maybe that agency had had the problem a few months ago or a year or two ago, and they would have a solution to their problem.
Right, so it wasn't just State Treasurer Office employees saying this is how you do it.
Right.
It was a group effort, really, group discussion. You know, my big question is kind of a rhetorical one, but I want to pose it to you. Why is it so important that we have these guidelines? Why is it so important that there are procedures in place, especially when you're talking about handling the state's cash?
Well, without proper procedures and without proper internal controls, it's hard to protect the cash. That's really the state of West Virginia's cash, and we want to make sure that we collect all of that we possibly can in and make sure that it's safe and secure and get those back into the state money.
And no amount is too small. I mean, when we're talking about coffers of just a couple $100 or a couple million, it's all the same when it comes to the process of handling this.
Correct, correct.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the problems you run into most frequently when we're talking about handling state monies.
A lot of the agencies, especially small agencies, have trouble with segregation of duties. You know, we run into problems where the same person may collect in the cash, take it in, reconcile the account, and then have to take the money to the bank. So we tried to offer them solutions on how they can get around certain items and certain processes when it comes to that. Several of the services that the Treasurer's Office offers can help them, and then again through the roundtable discussions, some of the agencies offered up some other solutions that the smaller and larger agencies can have. Because even though it's a large agency, they may have smaller collection points where they only have a few employees there.
During the cash handling conference, did you discover some of these problems were relevant around
the
state?
Yes, and it seemed like we came up with a lot of solutions for those agencies to go around. Another area that we had was a 24-hour deposit rule. It's state code that once you collect the money, it needs to be put in the bank within 24 hours. This is sometimes hard for areas that are not within a city limit. So some of the agencies didn't realize that just because they weren't located near a city, that we have several state depositories that are scattered throughout the state that they could use, and they could go and get the money in there. So.
Do you think that this conference really helped some of the staff around the state to better identify these guidelines and better put them into practice?
Absolutely. We've received several comments both at the conference and once we've gotten back about how the agencies have appreciated the fact that even though we put these guidelines out there, that we gave them some solutions to help them put those procedures in place.
How has technology played a role in streamlining the way that the state's cash is handled?
Well, just like I talked about earlier, if we didn't have technology, it would be hard for them to get away with some of these, like the 24-hour rule or the segregation of duties. It's through technology and some of the services that are offered that we can quickly turn that money around and put it into the bank. Without technology, that wouldn't be possible.
What about e-government? How does it make the state's, I guess, the state government more accessible to people?
Well, e-government is a program where it's an internet-based payment process that the Treasurer's Office has, and instead of people using cash to pay for their payments, people can go online, and it's very convenient for the taxpayers and the vendors of the state who can utilize that. So it gives them another option than accepting checks and cash.
All right, Misty. Well, March Money Madness focuses on policies and procedures, but that wasn't the only learning opportunity offered at the conference. When we return, more details on the extra credit sessions, plus more with Misty Price. Stay with us.
I want my kids to have a better future than what I did.
It's key to have other people contribute to the 529. This is a gift that we'll give for a lifetime.
Smart 529 would be an incredible gift for a family member to give to a child.
Yeah, something that would give for decades after the original gift.
I just want to thank you guys for saving a college plan for me.
And it makes it worth it.
Welcome back to Treasury Notes. I'm your host, Gina Joynes. Officials from state agencies recently attended March Money Madness, a cash management training conference presented by the Office of West Virginia State Treasurer John Perdue. Along with cash management training, Kim Ward tells us that everyone who attended the conference had the opportunity to take in additional job training courses.
Learning the proper guidelines and procedures isn't the only way to improve your job performance.
Every action that you take, the words that you speak, they either add to your account, your trust account, or they take away.
The focus of March Money Madness may have been on cash management, but in between sessions on cash procedures and policies, you could take in sessions like business etiquette.
So what I'd like you to do real quick is introduce yourself to 3 people in the room.
It gives me a better outlook on what I need to change in myself in order to make things better where I work.
As technology in the workplace advances, it is important to stay informed.
Some very large federal agencies are going to cloud services for storage and backup, disaster recovery, even financial institutions.
Mary Blashford with the School Building Authority found the technology classes particularly helpful.
I had another class on Microsoft Office 2010, which even though I use Microsoft Office 2010, I learned a lot just from watching him move through those screens and how to operate the software.
Dr. Carolyn Peluso Adkins, a speech teacher from West Virginia University, gave an extended presentation that both entertained the audience and educated them on the basic rules of public speaking.
People forget 1/3 to 1/2 of what they hear within 8 hours of hearing.
Other topics of interest included a question and answer session on saving for college.
Those are all advanced degrees and they all cost money and they don't give scholarships for that stuff.
Now the question is, who can contribute to your Smart 529 account? You have a Smart 529 account. Who can put money into that?
And preparing for retirement.
And we have 25 investment options to choose from a variety of fund families and asset classes.
A traditional IRA, another 457 plan, or all of the above?
All of the above.
During her presentation on public speaking, Dr. Adkins tells the audience laughter is one way to overcome nervousness. And fittingly, the conference wrapped up with a few laughs. Charleston's improv comedy group, the No Pants Players, provided a break from the educational sessions at the conference banquet.
Let's take the mud bath. Oh, there's not just mud in here.
Reporting for Treasury Notes, I'm Kim Ward.
Misty Price, Deputy Treasurer of Cash Management, is back with us as we talk about the Money Management Conference designed to educate state employees. And I have to point out that Brian Archer was the person in the video who was dressed up like a referee, really got into the March Money Madness theme. Of course, this session went on during the Final Four, and there was a lot for everybody to take in. We tried to make it a fun conference, not just an educational one.
Right. We realized that learning about internal controls and the cash receipt handbook was not going to be the most funnest topics for the 3-day conference. So we wanted to offer them some topics that they could go to that would benefit them professionally, but would also give them a little bit of a break from the mundane internal control talk that they were used to.
Right. There was a banquet with some entertainment. We saw the No Pants Players, an improv group from Charleston perform. And really, again, this conference, as you said, tried to make it educational, but also something that people enjoyed going to, that they took away more from it than just policies and procedures from a handbook.
Right.
Well, the attendees also had the opportunity during these sessions to learn a little bit about ERP. Let's talk about ERP. I know this is something that you've been working on for quite some time. Enterprise Resource Planning, that's what it stands for. And West Virginia's project is called the WVOASIS project. Explain to us what this is all about.
Well, we are in the middle of implementing an ERP project, which is essentially, I think the technical definition is a comprehensive suite of integrated modules for end-to-end users to help them out. What it essentially is it's the system that's going to replace FIMS and a lot of other legacy systems that are in place at a lot of different agencies. So no longer will users have to go into one system and enter information and then go into FIMS and enter information. It will be all contained within one system and should benefit the users dramatically.
A lot of our viewers might not understand what FIMS is, or some of these different systems that we have here in the state. But these are basically cash reporting systems, computer programs that the state uses to help handle the cash. And this ERP project is going to replace quite a few systems.
Right.
Is that correct?
I think it's been identified that over 100 different systems throughout all the different state agencies will be replaced.
So the big question for you is, how will this affect the Treasury operations?
Well, it'll affect us and other agencies tremendously. We'll have to reconfigure how we do internal operations, and then it will also affect the agencies with their Treasury operations, because now when they go into FIMS, which is what the accountants and other agencies use to process financial data in the state, they usually have to go into FIMS and look at the check information, and then once they get the check information, then they have to go into TOPS, which is a program that the Treasurer's Office maintains, to actually see if the check has been cashed or returned. Well, now when this new system goes in place, it will all be contained within the same one, so they have a one-stop shop.
Some people might not have realized that we're not using all one universal system. What are the benefits to having a system in place that will replace all these different smaller systems?
Well, one of the big ones, at least for the users, are you don't have to remember 100 different passwords and user IDs. It'll all be contained within the same one, but it'll also eliminate some of the redundant key entry that some of the folks have to use. It'll help the state citizens be able to find information better. It will make our information more transparent, so everybody will be more standardized, and we'll be able to obtain information and get it out of the system in a more uniform way.
And I guess my last question for you is just, how do you see this cash collection process for the state continuing to evolve?
Well, with the new ERP system, it's definitely going to evolve, and it's going to evolve quickly. And also, we try to stay in contact with the banks and maintain a relationship with them to see and keep up to date on the newest technology that's coming out, and offer those to the agencies so they can help improve their processes too.
This is definitely something that we will continue to hear about for not just months, but years to come. I know the ERP process, the WVOASIS project, is going to be implemented over several years, correct?
Correct.
All right. Misty Price, thank you again so much for joining us today here on Treasury Notes.
Thank you very much for having me.
Remember, you can always get the latest news and information from the State Treasurer's Office. Just log on to our website at wvtreasury.com. Keeping you informed on the Library Television Network, I'm Gina Joynes with the Office of West Virginia State Treasurer John Perdue.